Travis Walton was only 22 years old in 1975 when he was abducted at Apache Sitgreaves National Forest in Arizona, where he worked as a lumberjack along with his brother and a few friends. His is one of the best documented abduction cases because Travis disappeared for 5 days, causing the local sheriff to think there had to be a foul play, possibly even a homicide, that it involved his buddies. Despite a thorough search of the area, Travis was not found, dead or alive. But then he reappeared near Heber, Arizona, 30 miles away from the abduction site, 5 days later, disoriented, frightened, and confused. He had an incredible story to tell, not remembering the initial event when a light hit his chest, lifted him up and paralyzed him, and took him on board a flying saucer, as described by his brother, who remained by their truck, witnessing his brother's alien abduction, along with their buddies. Travis only remembers waking up on a gurney inside a craft, an environment that looked completely alien to him, with dark gray walls, self-lumination, unrecognizable instruments, and gray humanoid-looking beings that terrified him, poking at him with instruments and staring into his soul. He fought back, but was further restrained, and yet he seemingly came out of the experience unharmed, physically, even as the psychological and emotional effects have lasted a lifetime. Travis Walton has stuck to his story, in the face of ridicule, accused of making the whole thing up for who knows what gain. He underwent 17 lie detector tests. He passed 16 of them. One of them he failed, and that has been repeatedly used to discredit his story. It's worth noting that in 1975, there was much less comparative data on UFOs, abductions, the craft's interiors, and medical procedures, but Hopkins had barely begun his research, so Travis did not have comparative data to draw upon if he truly was building an abduction event as fiction. Looking back, his story is incredibly consistent with other experiencer accounts of alien abduction, including his description of the craft, near identical to one described by Bob Lazar, allegedly housed at Area 51. Travis Walton was interviewed for a television program in 1977, and it is invaluable to have his fresh view from that time, documented on record. Let's listen to Travis Walton.
It was a little after 6 in the evening. We were coming out of the woods here, up this road, and we saw this glow through the trees. And when we got in the opening here, we could see this object hovering over here, stopped the truck. And, everybody, wow.
What did it look like? How big was it? How bright?
It was about 20 feet, 25 feet in diameter, about 8 or 10 feet thick. It was a disc-shaped object, glowing golden color. I could hear a sound when I got up closer, but it suddenly got louder and started to move in kind of a wobbling motion, and that scared me, and I decided, I better get out of there. And so I raised up to go, and I just felt a numbing shock, and blacked out. My coworkers, the guys in the truck, said they saw a beam come out of this craft and hit me in the head and the chest and knocked me backward. The next thing I knew, I was regaining consciousness, apparently inside the craft, and I was in a great deal of pain. I didn't just come to right, snap to. And I discovered these 3 creatures standing over me. I lashed out at them. I was backing away from them, and they came towards me. And I was really hysterical, and I screamed at them to get away from me. And they just stopped at one point there and just turned around and left the room. Just all at once. I found myself on the pavement outside of the town of Heber. I was laying beside the road, and when I looked up, I saw a craft hovering above the road there, and then it just shot straight up outside. Well, if they had evidence, more conclusive than what I, am able to gather from what happened to me, then I would be willing to accept it, It's just that I accept the beings in a craft explanation because it just works better. It fits better. It's so much. It's obvious that that's what it was to me.
He spent 5 days on the UFO. He thinks now there is some small time loss in there, but for all intent and purposes, he spent 5 days on there. He did come in contact with some beings. They're human-like, but they weren't humans, and he had quite an experience. He said he doesn't remember anything about a blue light in the first encounter last Wednesday. The blue light that they saw, he said, at that instant, felt like he got hit in the forehead with a baseball bat and it knocked him out. And he woke up, he was aboard one of the crafts. And they never spoke to him. They led him around by the hand. They wouldn't talk to him. They showed him this and that. And when they let him off, he woke up.
Did he say they were friendly creatures?
Smiled all the time, friendly, never harmed him. They were just as nice as they could be. But there was a total lack of communication, either verbal or mental.
And he said that's what made him so upset that he couldn't speak with them.
Yeah, that's what he was very, very disgusted about. That nervous and just plain disgust. The chance of a lifetime, and they wouldn't cooperate.
Obviously, Dwayne, you know your own brother probably better than anybody else. Do you believe the story?
I've never seen him play a practical joke in his adult life.